Hey, what's up, everyone? Over the past few weeks, I've met with over 50 businesses and talked to them about, implementing cold email into their business. And one of the things I found super shocking is that nobody knows their numbers and they've never even really forecasted their numbers. What do I mean by the numbers? So, I mean things like how many leads you need to make a goal that you want to reach, like how many bookings, what is your cost per booking, estimating the amount of volume you need to do and how much money it's going to cost you and what you're going to get at the end of the day. All right, so I just found it super shocking. So I spent some time and I built this cold email booking cost calculator, which also calculates a number of other things for you so that you can assess cold email and sort of plan for what you could possibly get, which only makes sense. If you're going to invest a bunch of time and money into a strategy, then you should probably know what to expect. Okay. So what I did with this calculator, and if you comment below, you can get access to it. But you enter like a sequencer budget. Okay, so a tool like Lead Engine, that sends your emails and stuff like that. You enter in a cost per valid email address. I just recommend, anywhere from like 2 to 5 cents. This goes up to 50 cents. Okay, but typically, it's 2 to 5 cents. Okay, so wherever you're getting your data, your cost per estimated email account. So you got to pay for Google, for Microsoft inboxes. You might be using some resellers. Maybe you're using some custom email accounts, and so your average might come down. Okay, so maybe you get your average email accounts for $4. Then you just say how many new bookings you want per month. Okay, so let's just say I want to do 20 new bookings. Okay, now we want to adjust the reply rate of your campaigns. So this is the percentage of leads who reply to your campaigns, not the percentage of people who reply to emails. Okay, so if you enroll 100 people into a 3-step campaign, 10 total people reply, that would be a 10% reply rate. It doesn't matter if they reply to email 1, 2, or 3. It's just how many leads you enrolled, how many replied. Okay. So, you might hit, 5%, typical range 3 to 8%. Okay, it could be higher just depending on what kind of strategies you're using for cold email. All right, and then you pick your positive reply rate. Of these replies, what percentage of them are going to reply positively? And I give you a range, 10 to 15% is typical. An A plus is like getting 20% positive reply rate. I wouldn't calculate that. I would err on the side of caution here. So you can be a little bit more conservative with your estimates. And then of the positive replies here, what percentage of those will actually book a meeting with you? Okay, so typically this is 15 to 20%. Again, if you want to err on the side of caution, let's lower it a little bit. Now let's take a look at our output. So in order to achieve and get those 20 bookings that you want, you're going to need just under 27,000 valid leads. You're going to need to send 67,000 emails. That would generate, based on the math and the numbers you inputted, 333 replies. Okay, so if we have a 10% positive reply rate, that's 133 positive replies. The 20 meetings that you put in for your goal. So all these numbers get backed into, so you can kind of see, what do I need to send to actually achieve the goal that I want to ultimately hit. Now down here is estimating your cost breakdown based on the numbers that you inputted here, here, and here. It's going to estimate our cost. So our cost per email send is going to be around, I guess, is that 7 cents? Our cost per reply is $3.85. Our cost per positive reply is $38.59. Our cost per booking is $256.64. And our total cost, if we want to hit 20 bookings, is going to be around $5,000. Okay, so this is where I see people totally misunderstand what it takes to actually get the goal they want from cold email. Now let's play with some numbers a little bit here. Okay, so I was conservative on some things. All right, so I put a pretty low positive reply rate in there. So if I crank that up a little bit, I put a pretty low booking rate in there. So if we move that up a little bit, things move pretty substantially. And our cost per booking now is down to $153, right? But maybe you're getting a little bit cheaper, data. Maybe you're able to save a little bit on inbox costs, right? Maybe you're like, okay, I can deal with maybe 15 meetings a month is a better goal. These numbers start to come down. Okay, so it all just depends on, right? And maybe my reply rate, maybe we do some strategies and use some tools like Lead Engine, for instance, or you're building really relevant lead lists and you're using hyper personalized emails, or you're crafting irresistible offers. That can move the needle substantially. So I mean, if you take a look at this number here, if we're at 5% before, and if we can get this to like a 10%, your costs come down substantially. You need to send substantially less emails to hit your goal. Okay, so it's the strategy is actually very, very important with your cold email. You don't want to just write the worst copy, get the worst deliverability, and building the most irrelevant lead list. If that happens, you're going to get a much lower reply rate. And look how many emails you need to send to hit the same goal. All right, so if we can move this up, it drastically changes the outlook up here. Just look at this. Going from a 2% reply rate, you need to send 72,000 emails, and it would cost you $4,400 under this scenario. You go to a 5%, you only need to send 28,000 emails, and now it's going to cost you less than $2,000 and $128 a meeting. So doing things, this number here is the most leveraged number for cold email, okay? Like your costs are going to remain like fairly the same. You're going to pay a similar amount for a sequencer. You're going to pay a similar amount for email validation. You're going to pay a similar amount for, your email inboxes. Okay, your goal is obviously going to change. Your positive reply rates can certainly change. Your booking rates can certainly change. These things, copywriting, irresistible offers, things like that matter with this. But this is your most leveraged number, okay? Your reply rate. So deliverability, hyper-targeted lead lists, okay, and really, really good copy that matches those lead lists can drastically change this number and the outlook of your campaigns. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, if you're going to use this calculator to play around with and plan your attack and your campaigns, understand the numbers and data behind it, just comment below and I'll send it over. Talk soon.